If a leader has good knowledge of the skills needed, they can plan successful sessions and include different drills and activities. For example, in netball, instead of doing just standard chest passing drills, they can make it more exciting. Also, having the right knowledge means they can give good accurate demonstrations. Another reason having good knowledge means a leader can take a player from doing basic skills to more advanced skills, therefore developing them as players. A leader taking a session will need to have good knowledge of many areas. They must also have an in-depth understanding of the sport, including the rules, techniques and tactics required.
It's important to have knowledge about the people you are working with, for example, in specific circumstances such as illness, asthma or injuries, as this can be a potential incident.
In sport matches, it is useful to have knowledge of your opponent so you can expose their weaknesses.
If a leader didn't have this knowledge, they wouldn't be able to lead a successful session.
Understanding the psychological needs is important when being a leader because they need to know what motivates the participants. Therefore, the session should take into account what the participants want to achieve in order for the participants to engage in the session. Understanding physical needs is important when being a leader because depending on the age of the participants and the ability of the participants depends on what you can do during a session. For example, you wouldn't do the same session with a 5-year-old and an 18-year-old as the 5-year-old's body wouldn't be physically developed enough to do the same session. Another reason the leader has to have good knowledge of physical need is due to people having different fitness levels and not everyone will be able to push themselves as hard. Injury needs to be taken into consideration as you don't want to cause injuries any worse or create any new injuries to participants. Taking everyone's physical needs means leaders can adapt and plan sessions to make them as positive and as successful as they can. If a leader doesn't understand or take physical needs into consideration, they may injure or upset a participant by pushing them too much. Also, if a leader does take physical needs into account, they may start to smother participants, which may make them feel uncomfortable. Consistent. Leaders must be consistent in their approach to different situations and their interpretation of the rules. The consistency is very important in the leader because it creates stability and trust with everyone. When a leader is consistent, they will know exactly what to expect. Consistency doesn't mean leaders can't grow, progress and change. It just means leaders need to behave in a similar manner in given situations. An example of a good consistent leader is Sir Alex Ferguson. He has won 38 trophies over 26 seasons. Alex Ferguson's consistency had brought a sense of continued stability to Old Trafford, and they had been successfully competing for the league title and in every European and domestic competition. An example of a bad consistent leader is Danny Wilson. He first came to the attention of the football world when he managed Barnsley in the 90s. Wilson led the Oakwell team into the Premier League for the first time. However, things have not quite planned out for Wilson. Since then he's had mixed success at various clubs. At present, Wilson took charge of Barnsley for a second time, but was unable to save them from relegation down to League One.
And 2 years later, he moved to the North East. And after 2 years at Hartlepool, the 49-year-old gravitated to the county ground.
13. I am your host, LL Cool J. You said I was finished and Father Time was to blame. You disrespected my legacy and threw dirt on my name. Told DJs he's over, he ain't spitting the same. What he says is irrelevant, hip-hop culture has changed. When I walk in the room, young boys look at me strange, as if I am a relic from some long-forgotten game. It makes my blood boil.
Goal focused is a mental training technique that can be used to increase an individual's commitment towards achieving a goal. Having a short or long-term goal can encourage an individual to work harder and be more focused on the task. If needed, the goals can be changed to make them more realistic and more achievable. Being goal-focused in sports is a positive as it can help you improve as a player. Being goal-focused helps focus attention so that you know what needs to be achieved and how you're going to achieve this. It also increases effort in tasks so that you will be able to improve faster. You will also be encouraged as an individual to develop strategies for achieving your own goals. A negative thing about being too goal-focused is that you'll become too focused on achieving the goal that you don't work towards anything else, meaning you won't be improving in anything other than the area you're working towards. If you're also too set on reaching a goal, you could cause damage to yourself in the process by working too hard. K.neale would be a good example of someone who is goal-focused. Even though Katie is only a semi-professional snowboarder, she still sets new long-term and short-term goals all the time. As she is a snowboarder, her main goals are to learn new tricks and do well in competitions. The reason she is such a good example is because setting goals is what helped her improve and to get where she is today. The goals which she set are worked at until she achieves them. One goal which she set in 2014 was to land a double cork 1080. As this goal was set, she worked and finally accomplished it, becoming the first woman to ever land this trick. Her newest goal is to make it into the Winter Olympics in 2016.
You okay? Yeah. You got the first one out of the way.
Should I move?
Yeah, let's move now. You're spinning like a little box. That all tucked up. When you open it, all that flip turns into spin.
Can I see my landing? Yeah. I was just guessing. And then I kind of guessed that I'd gone massive when I was still like this.
Yeah, I'd gone massive. The next one will be slower and it'll just come around dunk, and land at the right time. Yeah, Katie, clean as you like. Yee!
Approachable is friendly and easy to talk to or deal with, able to be reached or approached. A positive sporting example is if Amy cooks at training, she feels uncomfortable doing something, she'd be able to tell her coach and tell her what her issues are. This makes a good leader, as if she's approachable, her participants are able to approach her and feel comfortable in doing so. A negative sporting example is if a leader is too approachable, the relationship between the coach and the player may become more like friends, which isn't good, as it should be on a professional level in sport.
Patience definition: an ability or willingness to suppress relentless or annoyance when confronted with delay. Often leaders come across problems that they are unable to control. It is essential that leaders develop a strategy for coping with problems. For example, if the group was being disruptive, they were given time out. Leaders need to be controlled and responsible in every situation, especially when their patience has been tried. They may be particularly slow to learn, have annoying antisocial habits, or be a disruption to the group. A positive sporting example would be Nicola Adams. She has shown good patience as she was at the peak of her performance. She had to wait for boxing to come into the Olympics. A negative sporting example could be Daniel Sturridge. He is a good Liverpool player. His injury last season left him out. People want him back to full fitness quickly so he can continue to play.
The trainer listens to the audience and works with them by teaching and guiding them. They must adapt processes to take account of the team and the events to achieve the best outcome under the circumstances. The trainer has a responsibility to check the work they are doing and look for ways to improve it. An example of a good trainer is Stefan Edberg. He has got Federer to play more matches and play tournaments more consistently. Stefan Edberg has made Roger Federer a better player and backed him to guide the 17-time Grand Slam champion to further glory. Stefan gave Federer a new edge as he pushed for a record 8th Wimbledon title.
What a brilliant performance from Roger Federer.
Roger Federer really is the power and the glory in men's tennis at the moment.
He's done it, and look what it means to Roger Federer.
Federer on a tennis court has hit the highest heights that most observers have ever seen.
The world number one, proving why he's exactly that.
Federer is the champion in Australia for the second time.
I hope you know how much this means to me.
Another Grand Slam title for the great Roger Federer.
Glorious final played out under the gaze of Bjorn Borg.
It's another piece of history for the world number one. For a fifth time, Roger Federer is champion in New York. Federer wins the French Open for the first time in his career, and in addition must surely be regarded now as the greatest male player of all time.
An example of a bad trainer is Pepe Marti. He provided Lance Armstrong with the performance-enhancing drugs. From this, Pepe received a ban of 8 years.
You don't have
Manchester City had a massive psychological win here in Pellegrini's first derby. David Moyes has to dust himself down. It's City 4, United 1.
We didn't play well enough to win the game. Manchester City played well, and we deserved.
A role model is someone whose behaviour, example or success is or can be emulated by others, especially by younger people. A good example of a role model would be David Beckham, as so many people look up to him and they also follow by his example. People also inspired to be like him, as he came from a working class family and followed his dream to become a professional footballer. Another reason he's a good example of a role model is because he promotes charity and contributes to charity himself. In addition to that, David Beckham is also a very successful celebrity, having been known as a magnificent football player. Being a role model has its negative side, as one bad action can cause young people or any people to think that it's the right thing to do. Luis Suarez was considered a good role model until he got done for shouting racial abuse at another footballer. Some young people who look up to him may believe that it's okay to do this, as they saw him doing it on TV.
Motivational leadership is an art form for where a leader implements a model and strategy for influencing people to follow them. They are interested in building a safe and trusting environment, as well as ensuring the company is positioned to be successful in the marketplace. A sporting example of a bad motivator is Alan Pardew. This is because when his team was losing a match, rather than motivate the team to keep going and trying, he lost his temper and motivation and headbutted a player from the other team.
Instructor definition: someone who teaches sport or a practical skill. Instructors teach sport skills and techniques to players at all levels. They have to be enthusiastic about motivating others in sport. They have to use their authority to create suitable training programs for others. A positive sporting example would be Alex Ferguson, because he assisted Manchester United in winning the Premier League 13 times due to his good instructions. Dean Richards is a bad instructor, as he became known as the Bloodgate. He used all his substitutions during a match, so he instructed the physio to put a blood capsule in Tom Williams' mouth when he pretended he was injured.
Injuries were beginning to take their toll on Quins in the second half. The gamble of playing unfit outside half Nick Evans backfired when he had to leave the field.
Players now starting to hit the canvas, Malone one of them.
As Williams later said, Dean told me to tell Steph Brennan, one of the club's physios, that I'd be coming off for blood.